Memories. Memories.
Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. 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 I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call. Let's free fall. Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. Feel my heart, it's beating. Oh, my body's breathing. It's just you and me. I'm so caught in this, we're so lost deep in it, can't stop. I'm forever the one you call.
Sitting in a 4v3.
Everfrog Esports trying to find the angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a wall. DYS gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
The beast mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Sagafar is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Lana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio. That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the 8? They get the 8.
Hello everybody, welcome back to CGL. A very exciting matchup today as we are now in the late stages of the postseason playoffs. I am Mega Ninja 44, joined by the one and only Rain. We have a very exciting matchup for you guys with the NAGM lower losers final, I guess would be the long technical term, between 7DS and DYS Fracture. Very exciting matchup. Rain, how are you feeling today?
Pretty good. I'm definitely excited to see who's going to win in this UGM matchup because, of course, the winner of this match is going to go on to that grand final. So a lot on the line right now with this elimination match, and especially between these two teams that came into the playoffs more or less kind of around the middle of the pack. So it's super exciting to get to see both of them here in this lower bracket finals.
Yeah, both of these teams coming into the postseason at a number 4 seed and number 6 seed, so nobody really expected them to get this far. They've been performing incredibly well. I do believe that we might be able to look at that bracket for the time being. But I do want to talk about how these teams kind of got here. But first, before we get to that, I want to talk about the schedule for today, because today is going to be 2 games. We have our current one between DYS Fracture and 7DS, and then another one later tonight at 22 Eastern Time between Team Prosperous and Monolith. Be sure to check out that second one as well, and also be sure to stay for this one, obviously. This one's going to be a really good one. I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, like you mentioned, we're at the end kind of the playoffs here, and that goes, of course, for the NA division, but here in the EUGM division as well. DYS Fracture actually falling down into this lower bracket kind of at the very beginning, round number 1 here. So they've had an incredible run to get back into this lower bracket finals. 7DS staying strong through that first round, but ended up dropping down in round number 2. So both of these teams having a pretty good look so far here in the lower brackets, but DYS has definitely got a little bit more mileage in this lower bracket.
Yeah, we could take a look at the bracket just really quickly. And yeah, like you said, it's been a while for DYS Fracture. They've been here since the very beginning, losing their first matchup against Unlimited. But Unlimited has been looking unstoppable. Already secured their grand final spot. 7DS started off pretty strong, round 1, round 2, getting their wins, but then getting 3-0'd by also Unlimited. So both of these teams have gone against Unlimited before, and they will. One of these teams will be going against them again in the grand finals. But first, they have to make sure they get through each other in order to secure themselves a top 2 finish guaranteed.
I think it's worth mentioning as well that Unlimited, also one of those middle of the pack teams, came in to these playoffs in that number 5 seed. So I would say that we've had a pretty exciting postseason here for the EUGM division. And, you know, some teams just really come alive in the playoffs. The pressure really helping them kind of propel forward. And I think that these final 3 teams that we have here in the EUGM division are a very good example of that.
Yeah, just kind of coming out of not necessarily nowhere, but you know, kind of going from this lower level of their seeding wise in order to perform so incredibly well. I mean, I think it's 4, 5, and 6 are the remaining teams that are left in this playoff. So this is a really good competitive tier right now. Both these, all 3 of these teams, doing an incredible job showing how much they can grow coming into this postseason. And so now DYS Fracture, 7DS, these lower tiered seeds going to battle it out for that grand final spot, potentially winning this tier, something that not really a lot of people expected from them.
Yeah, it's definitely a feather in their cap if they can even get this far, but being able to go into that grand finals to take on Unlimited, both of these teams going to be fighting very hard to do just that. Now, we are not quite at the grand finals yet, so this is going to be a first to 4. So, exciting matchup here, potentially a longer one here, because I'm expecting that these 2 teams are going to be very close in this series. We did see them face off against each other in the regular season in week 8. We've come a long ways since then, but in that situation, it was actually 7DS that took the win.
Yeah, it's been a while, of course, since they've played against each other, but Speaking of this matchup, we have our first map, and it is the tried and true, the classic. I feel like I've been casting it constantly, nonstop. Lijiang Tower is going to start us out. This is the control map. Everybody picks Lijiang. I think that this has been the #1 pick for all control. I feel like a day has not gone by where Lijiang does not see some playtime. So we'll have to see how both these teams perform on this tried and true map, right?
Looks like I'm spreading misinformation. It will be a first to 3 here. Still the potential to go the distance, but yeah, getting started out on Lijiang Tower, really no surprise here. So we have been seeing kind of the meta evolve, I think, as we've gone through these playoffs. If anybody has been tuning in to some of the OWCS matches that have been happening, we've been seeing a lot of really interesting compositions, especially coming out of the APAC region. So I am always a fan of some quirky compositions, so potentially getting to see some Jetpack Cat would be really fun, but it's going to really come down to the hero bands that these teams select.
Yeah, and 7DS are going to be able to get that first ban. And like you were talking about, within that APAC region, we've been seeing a looming, daunting presence along the horizon as Cat Bastion is getting played a lot of the times. And it's not my favorite thing to watch, but it is quite interesting to play, I will say. So maybe that will be put into consideration with these bans. But the first ban is actually going to be a Lucio from 7DS. So taking care of that speed character, making these compositions a lot slower unless they want to play something like a Juno. But it's definitely a interesting ban, you know, not allowing that Kiri Lucio backline that's so dominant to be so present on this first map.
Yeah, I feel like this ban, Mega Ninja, could be sending us into Cat Bastion territory. Yeah, taking the Lucio off the map here is going to allow for a little bit less kind of mobility in the compositions, and I think that is where this kind of Jetpack Cat is really able to shine, is if you don't have the speed to worry about, you can just kind of control a lot more space with that Jetpack Cat, throw a Bastion into the air as well, and there's a lot of damage potential. On the other side of things, DYS is going to ban out Emre, so another hero that we have been seeing a lot of consistent damage available, and a lot of kill potential in this hero.
Yeah, just a really good hit scan option, right? I think a lot of the times the top 2 hit scans are that Emre or that Sojourn, so taking care of that Emre kind of situates the situation to be a Soj mirror, unless they do want to run that Cat Bastion, in which case that Bastion will take that hit scan role. But we do have our lineups all set. We can look at DYS Fracture first. An incredibly strong lineup, as we can see because of their statistics so far. We have YB Ronin, Note on that DPS line, Nepu on that tank, and then Kermi and Ascend on that back line. A very strong, seasoned lower bracket roster, and we'll have to see if they can continue that run today.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what this team can do. We've been hyping them up. They've made a fantastic run through this lower bracket so far. Worth noting as well, there are kind of some players on the bench for this team. I'm always impressed with kind of the size of the rosters here in the EU division, but I suspect that with the success that this team has been seeing, we're probably going to be seeing a lot of familiar faces throughout this match. But on the other side of things, 7DS have had a very good playoff so far as well. I have Gamer and Sizz, the starting DPS here, Best on the tank, YU Mad and ASVP going to be your supports here, and again, they do have some substitutions available if they need to swap things up.
Yeah, both of these rosters are incredibly deep. I think they got, I think that's 11 players on the side of DYS Fracture and 10 from the side of 7DS, so they can definitely make substitutes if they so want. Definitely could be really adaptive to the situations. We'll have to find out as we are getting our players on into the lobby. A very exciting matchup. This one is kind of not for all of the marbles, but for like half of the marbles. I would say, because it's, you know, it's not. Somebody will be going home today, right? We will be saying goodbye to one of these teams in that postseason, but we are going to have one more matchup in this tier in the grand finals. But these teams are just dying for that spot, especially wanting to go against Unlimited again. Both these teams were sent down here by Unlimited, so it'd be good for them to get their chance at redemption.
And I think it's interesting to think of kind of the matchups that we've seen, kind of 7DS falling into this lower bracket very recently from Unlimited, but in a 3-0 fashion, so they weren't even able to kind of get a map off of that team. Meanwhile, DYS did fall in that first round, but they did manage to get at least one map off of Unlimited, so we'll have to see if these teams are able to kind of learn from that, prep themselves. Of course, you need to be thinking about this match, but you need to be thinking about that grand finals match as well, because that one is for all of the marbles. So super excited to see what these teams have learned as they've fallen into this lower bracket, and also if DYS is going to be able to keep up this momentum that they've built in this bracket.
Yeah, we'll have to find out as our teams are situated already. Here are our rosters, here are our lineups. Oh, a substitution actually from the side of 7DS, as Delta is going to be coming in instead. An interesting substitution to come in so late, but we'll have to find out if that is going to be in their favor or not. I'm not entirely sure what these players play. I haven't been able to watch either of these teams perform in this postseason, but I mean, based off these, I'm not even going to talk about these comps because they're not real. They're not actually going to be running out on this, surely.
Little Roadhog action for Lijiang Tower. I mean, anything's possible here. Now, the double flex support for 7DS definitely could be possible as well. We don't see Yari a whole lot on Lijiang Tower, but looks like they do want to run it. Not going to have the Roadhogs. Best over on to the Hazard here. DYS are sticking with this composition. They even have YB Ronin over on that Symmetra, so it's going to be the TP onto the point, and with this Ramatra, they're going to look to just bunker down and control the space.
Yeah, doing a really good job setting up on the objective. A lot of damage getting applied to Delta, not taken out of the engagement just yet. DYS Fracture setting up strong, having a lot of pressure and positioning advantages. This TP is going to be doing a nice job making sure these players can go back and forth, but DYS Fracture getting bodies on the objective is going to start getting things going, but this form has already been utilized. Best taking a lot of damage in that backline. The Ramatra is going to be the first to fall, however, so despite DYS getting this first cap, oh, no, it's able to get a trade on the Delta, however, so it's a 4v4, but this Hazard's still alive, going to be such a problem. Kermie's down. It's a 3v4 situation, and I mean, this Hazard is just such a problem. Sis able to find another one, and that's going to be the flip there for 7DS, despite the first cap for DYS Fracture.
Great job from 7DS to kind of take the angles, play patient, poke out the damage, and then clean up the kills here. And I think that, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, DYS are going to stick with YB Ronin on this Symmetra, and now that you don't have that element of surprise, 7DS is going to have to be aware of these TPs, but it's not into the window. They're actually just going to TP around the coast.
Yeah, I think it even faked out our observer there for a second there, as the TP not going to be put in the traditional spot, and Note is able to open up with a nice kill onto Delta, and it already opens up your opportunities. And 7DS going to do a really nice job kind of kiting out for the time being, not giving up all the space, surely, but, you know, oh, YB Ronin taken down, but Best is traded out in the engagement, so now it is looking like 7DS, without their tank, are going to have to give up the point for the time being, and this is a really back-and-forth engagement of just getting these caps on board.
Yeah, I like that Sis is able to find out Ronin first in that fight. You really can't let this Symmetra kind of build up charge and go on in these fights, because you are going to absolutely beam down Best on this Hazard. But 7DS are having some ults coming online here, and it's just that Deadeye on the side of Fracture.
Oh, Sis is able to find two beautiful shots. Noda gets the trade, but it doesn't really matter as Kermie's going to be the next to fall. And there's bodies on the objective. Nepu is down. Noda's next, and it's going to be another fight win for 7DS. This is a back-and-forth engagement, but it all is off of the back of Sis with that nice Pulse Bomb opener.
Yeah, fantastic Pulse Bomb there from Sis, and the cleanup as well. Both supports end up falling for DYS, so it's a pretty quick flip for the side of 7DS, and very economical. You just commit in that Pulse Bomb. You can have the other 4 ults ready to go here. Now, Fracture do have Note with this Deadeye still. They have the Symmetra, so they have an opportunity to go for maybe a cheeky Deadeye play.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to use that Suzu, or the TP almost instantaneously, and Delta is going to fall yet again, but why you mad? There to get the trade. ASAP is going to pop that Captive Sun, trying to find some kind of kills, not going to be able to find anything for the time being, but a lot of pressure getting put onto one. Ascend, going to use that Rage, trying to stabilize for the time being. Why you mad? Going to be taken down, but so is YB Ronin. Looking like a back and forth exchange, but 7DS still have control of this objective for the time being. A lot of bodies for Fracture going to be set up on the objective. Both of these supports still alive. It's going to be difficult to take care of any of them, as Annihilation has been committed. from Nepu, trying to find any kind of picks. Their best 1 HP, but Delta and ASAP gonna be able to find 2. It's looking like this could actually go the way of 7DS, despite them having a disadvantage for the time being. Best is back, forces out the side of, who is that? I think that, yeah, Kermi's gonna be taken down. Had that rally online, and we're approaching last fight territory, and 7DS have the objective despite losing out a couple of key players early.
It was so unfortunate. Nepu pops the Annihilation, but there's nobody on the point. Everybody from 7DS is playing off the point. Best just uses the Violent Leap to get out of it, so you don't really get a lot of value from that Annihilation.
High Noon gets popped from Delta, trying to find more. Rally has been utilized, but Note is already off the board. Overtime's ticking down, trying to find something there. Pulse Bomb comes out, but it's not going to be able to connect. And Ronin has swapped over to the Tracer. Going to be able to finally mirror, but Nepu is down. That's the tank off of the board. There's no more ults, and YB Ronin next to fall. Kermi's going to get traded out instead, and now DYS Fracture going to be sent to the spawn room, and the first sub map is going to go the way of 7DS.
Nice start here. A lot of back and forth between these two teams, but it felt like 7DS was just playing this composition of the Hazard really kind of to perfection. They were not looking to just take the head-on fights against Nepu on this Ramatra. You're going to have a hard time winning out in the brawl fight against that tank, but instead targeting down these DPS, targeting down Ascend and Kermi as well. I think that Sizz did a fantastic job on the Tracer, always being set up on this angle. Delta, of course, putting out so much consistent damage as well. So we are going to move over on to a Garden here. So potentially a little change up in the composition here for Fracture. I would love to see it. I do think that 7DS just has too good of a read on how to play around that Ramatra composition. So shaking things up, they're going to move Nepu over onto the Diva, and Kermi is going to come out on that Jetpack Cat.
I'm getting cat flashbacks now to Varel beating Crazy Raccoons last night as 7DS going to be taking this dojo side, Nepu on that Diva, like you said. I think it's a good swap, personally. No taking all the damage in the world. Going to get taken down, actually, instantaneously. Already a 4v5 situation as 7DS going to be keeping up the pressure, desperately trying to find some other kind of picks here. As Best is just applying so much damage. The Suzu and TP have already been utilized from Ascend, and YB Ronin going to be the next to fall. And Nepu's out of the mech. It's looking like 7DS are going to walk away with this. They're going to be able to kill the baby, get the first cap, and it's going to be a quick reset for Fracture.
Wow, ASVP has just destroyed DYS on this Iyari. Fantastic way to just kind of play in this composition. Everybody has pick potential on the side of 7DS. Everybody is hitting those shots as well. DYS are going to opt to go for a mirror match here. So Nepu over onto the Hazard. Kermi is going to move over on to the Iyari as well. So we'll see how well they can play 7DS on their own composition.
Yeah, we'll have to find out here as 7DS going to be giving up a little bit of space for the time being. Fracture, health bars are dropping incredibly low. Nepu already taken out of the engagement. YB Ronin also traded. It's already a 3v5 situation. And before the fight even starts, it's going to end as Fracture going to take out taken off of the board here, and 7DS going to keep the hold going.
All right, well, yeah, it's just a team kill here for 7DS, and they're doing a really good job getting themselves set back up in these fights. They're not playing all on one angle. That's the beauty of playing this kind of pick composition, is you don't have to stand behind Best on this tank. You want to have some angles to work with right now, and now they have the space control and they have the ults to work with.
High Noon going to come out here from Delta, looking for some kind of picks, pressuring a lot of the space from Fracture. Not going to be able to find anything for the time being. A lot of pressure getting put through onto this Hazard, however. A Pulse Bomb not going to be able to connect, but does get the kill into Kermi anyways, as Kermi walks into oncoming traffic, taken off of the board. A 4v5 situation, and you're down to support. Best taking a lot of damage. Has to jump back to point for the time being, but YB Ronin already down. The downpour has been utilized in response to that rush. Not going to connect on anybody, but Ascend is down. Note is looking low, taken off of the board here, and 7DS have not slowed down in the slightest. Kermi's going to make another swap over to the Cat, but by this point, I think it's way too late, and Fracture only have a High Noon to utilize.
Yeah, it's going to have to be Kermi to try and get the recontest here. Note, yeah, with this Deadeye, they're waiting so that they can get the Deadeye in. It actually will be the contest from YB Ronin, so DYS at least have overtime going.
Oh my god, Best jumps in the air and actually takes a lot of damage. Capture Sun comes through, only connects to the Hazard, but Sizz and ASAP are going to be taken off the board. Note has been traded out, however, so this is still winnable. Nepu is going to use a couple of ults, and overtime does tick down, but Fracture going to be able to get the flip for the time being, but they need to play perfectly from here on out.
Yeah, it's going to be a really tough one here for DYS, especially with Kermi back over on this Jetpack Cat. I didn't see a whole lot of value from it before, but maybe on the defense here, going to be able to play a little bit safer, might be able to work with the cat a little bit more. 7DS did use a lot in that, but they only need one more fight to cap this point and take Lijiang Tower. So they can play slow here, try to get some ults out from DYS, try to build up to their own.
Yeah, as it does look like Note is going to be taken off the board almost instantaneously. Downpour has been utilized, and the High Noon is going to be used in response. A lot of pressure, but Nepu is able to get the kill on the Delta, and that's going to be a really good pick, as especially since that High Noon was committed from Delta, as 70ES don't really need to commit ults to this engagement. They can kind of force things out and then back up, but they're going to still go in. They're looking to find out the answer to this solution right here, right now. Ascend, has that Suzu been utilized? YB Ronin also, oh my gosh, the health bars are so incredibly low. YU Mad off of the board here, so it's just an Alari there. The Pulse Bomb still available, gonna not connect onto anybody, does a little bit of damage, but it's just to a hazard. Tracer's gonna be fighting, Ronin gonna be able to get the better of Sizz for the time being, and it looks like Fracture gonna be able to hold on, and it looks like 70S, they didn't really need to push into that.
No, maybe they thought that Fracture had more ultimates ready to go than they did. I mean, they did get the Pulse Bomb out from YB Ronin, but you're gonna have both support ults for Fracture to work with for this next fight, so still lots to try and withstand another fight here, and approaching that 80%, this could potentially be the last fight here on Garden. 70S are just a little bit behind, or a little bit ahead in the ult economy. They just need to find the value.
Yeah, it does look like the rush is going to come through here. There's the Catnap onto the Alari. Does a lot of damage, but going to be able to find that kill, but gets traded out. Down 4 has been utilized from Best. Connects onto a couple players, but the High Noon's good from Note. Nepu and oh my god, wait, it's just a swath of blue here as a Fracture going to be able to kill everybody, and despite the lead, 7DS lose out. And DYS Fracture are going to take us to submap number 3.
Oh, nice fight there. Both support alts committed in. They knew that this was going to be the last fight. The timing was fantastic. The Catnap catching out ASAP as well meant that 7DS didn't have that captive Sun to work with. So, fantastic trade there if you're Kermie. The Jetpack Cat, he's going to get back into that fight a little bit quicker compared to the Iari as well. So, really well played here from DYS. And I guess that making this swap to the mirror comp really did pay off for them.
Yeah, I was a little, questioning how that swap was going to work. In fact, I'm still kind of questioning it, because how are you going to really utilize it on this inside kind of map here? But we'll have to find out, as Best is going to make that swap over to the Ramatra, YB Ronin onto that Reaper here. So this could definitely be a couple of compositional swaps. Kermie going to make that swap over to that Brig, like I was thinking, as these teams going to be approaching each other, both on the server side, as Best just going to be kind of sitting up on the objective. A lot of rotation coming through as Fracture. Oh my gosh, the Curie is so low, and YU Mad takes the first fall, and there's going to be another one from Note and Nepu, as it is looking like this first fight is going to go the way of Fracture, despite them losing Kermie. Ascend is incredibly low, but it's not going to matter all too much, as this Reaper just cuts through everybody.
Oh, that is a great way here for Fracture to start out to control center. Team kill for them, and now they'll get themselves set up for some swaps out of 7DS as well. So Best is going to be off of that Ramatra very, very quickly over on to this Diva, and then ASAP gonna match on this Brig to have that Brig Curie backline for both of these teams. So the Diva definitely will be able to deny a lot of the damage, and ooh, you can put out some damage of your own too.
Yeah, YB Ronin going to be the first to fall in this engagement, and Nepu is able to get a trade onto Delta, so both these teams down to DPS for the time being. Best is swapped over to that Diva, and Ascend is off of the board. A really nice opener here is that Cassidy is going to be respawning, or YB Ronin is going to be respawning here, but there is going to be a DMech onto Best. The High Noon has been utilized, and Note's able to shut down that baby, and so now it's looking like this is going to be another hold from Fracture here, and 7DS need to get something done. They need to stop swapping so much so they can actually build up ult charge.
Yeah, that's a really good point. They're really going to be falling behind here, especially with Best kind of falling out of mech really early on in that fight, and then, yeah, eating up a Deadeye from Note here. 7DS are looking to move very quickly here. They're taking a lot of space, recognizing that Nepu has this the Downpour ready to go.
Yeah, there's the Pulse Bomb connects onto Kermie there. A nice opening, but the DYS Fracture line is looking incredibly low. Sizz gets traded out, and they're not going to push with this objective. 7DS desperately needed to get something done there, but they're not going to be able to for the time being. So now it's a lot of pressure still coming through. Note taken out of the equation. Best is going to be able to finalize that pick, but the point is still in the favor of Fracture. YB Ronin going to be able to get the kill onto Delta, so it's still not over until the Fat Lady sings, and the Diva Suzu is going to be good. It is looking like a flip there for 7DS, but they're going to retaliate with a rush. Both both teams have utilized that Kiriko ult. They're trying to get something done here now. 7DS have a lot of ultimates on the board. They don't want to pop it just out. There's the Reaper ult, connects onto both of the backliners. That's going to be huge for the side of Fracture, as they're going to try to use this bomb to try to get anything done. Sizz gets the kill, sure, and the DMEC does connect onto one, but the rally is good. They're not going to be able to find anything else, and I think this should be Fracture's fight win, unless a miracle play here for the Tracer.
Don't think the miracle is gonna come through here. No, gonna shut that one down. But fantastic Blossom there from YB Ronin. Does end up paying for it with his life, but good patience to wait out a lot of that defense matrix from Best. Has the Kitsune rush to give that Beyblade effect here. And now DYS very much in control of Control Center. It's one more chance for 7DS to get this point back.
Yeah, there's the High Noon coming through from Note. They definitely have a lot of pressure. The rally is good from ASAP, but not going to be able to find anything for the time being. A nice shot from that Diva already forces that remake, and there is going to be Delta popping that High Noon, not able to find anything. YB Ronin gets a trade, and there's a back and forth engagements from either of these sides. Sizz is able to get the kill on YB Ronin, so it looks like 7DS are going to be able to come out on top of this one, as Nepu going to be the last to fall, and DYS Fracture going to be sent back to the spawn room.
Oh, 7DS, the DPS locking in for that one. Going to keep them alive here in Lijiang Tower, but they had to use everything to find their way back on, and now very similar to what we saw over on Garden, but reversed here. 7DS are going to have to withstand multiple fights here from DYS, who do have this downpour ready to go and ascend very, very close to that Kitsune rush, which won't be able to be matched.
There's the downpour, going to be utilized from Nepu. Connects onto that Cassidy, but they're going to be able to try to stabilize them for the time being. And Nepu might have gone too deep for this. YB Ronin going to get a trade, but ASAP is able to kill that tank. And so now the rush has been utilized from Ascend. I don't know if you needed to use this, and Sizz is going to be able to find another one. And I don't like that rush at all from the side of DYS Fracture, as they're going to lose out this fight, and it's coming into last fight territory.
Oh, getting a little antsy there, but once you lose your tank, it is so hard to win, even with that Kitsune rush invested here. So it is going to come down to one last fight, overtime territory here. 7DS have a lot of ults to work with here, including that Diva Bomb that's coming online, so Best is going to have a second life in this fight.
Oh, but Kermi's down, but Sizz gets traded. A 4v4 situation. High Noon is good, connects onto a lot of players, but the rally is good. The rally is connecting onto a lot of players. The bomb has been utilized from Best. Overtime, gonna tick down. Are they gonna get a touch? They don't get a touch!
Oh, what a stun from the Brig. Oh my goodness. Yeah, not allowing the overtime to be triggered there. And, well, fantastic stuff here from 7DS. Had us, I think, sweating a little bit there, but definitely a really back and forth series here. And I think that this is a fantastic way to start out this lower bracket finals.
Oh, I was so ready to talk so much about that upcoming fight. I mean, there were ults online, the bomb had been forced, 7DS, I mean, they had a rally, sure, but there was so much from Fracture. The High Noon was making good space. I mean, it was looking like Fracture might have been able to get the job done there, but just a nice stun from the Brig to stop that hazard from touching, and they're gonna take this first map in a unconventional way, I'll say, as not really a C9, but there were 4 players alive, so like I'll put the C, I guess, instead of the 9. I don't know about like definition wise. Very unfortunate though from the side of Fracture, but a really back and forth series. I mean, going all 3 sub points, going to 99-99 in that last sub map. So. Just a really, really good start here, and if the rest of the series is looking like this, we could be seeing all 5 maps, even 6 if they try, honestly.
We're not trying to speak a hybrid tie into existence, just putting it out there that it could happen. Yeah, fantastic showing from both these teams, and I think that, yeah, taking a look here at the stats, I mean, fantastic stuff from ASAP. It's not often that we see a support player with so few deaths across, again, 3 sub points here on Lijiang Tower. So we were questioning a little bit all of the swaps that were coming through from 7DS on Control Center, but it really did feel like they found their groove once they got ASAP over onto that Brig to match that Brig Kiriko backline.
Yeah, just a very unfortunate situation in terms of how that fight ended up. Both of these teams going back and forth. Kermi could take some notes from ASAP, I'll be honest with you. I'm not trying to flame or anything, but it is looking like there was a little bit of a death differential between these two teams. Not saying that anybody played badly, but just, you know, an unfortunate end to the side of Fracture, as they're going to lose this first map, but now they're going to be in the driver's seat. They're going to bring their hands on the steering wheel. They're going to get map pick and they're going to get first ban. As where would you take 7DS if you're the side of Fracture based off of map number 1?
See, I feel like DYS, they came out wanting to play that Ramatra composition, but they had a really hard time kind of making it work against the Hazard, because the Hazard is really able to just negate that frontline brawl, and just kind of dive your supports, and really, it was the tank that was dying last most times on the side of Fracture, safer on Night Market, where they had to take out YB Ronin on the sim, that was the first target. So I think that if you go to a map where you can really kind of force more of this frontline duel, and you want to play that Ramatra, you probably want to go to something like a hybrid map, or looking at the history of these two teams, the last time that they played week 8 in the regular season, it was the hybrid map that ended up being the win for DYS. So they only took one map off of 7DS the last time they played, but I think that swapping up the tempo a little bit here is probably going to be the right call. Not going to another push map, not going to a flashpoint map, more leaning towards those payload maps.
Yeah, I do think that is a smart play, kind of swapping up what kind of compositions you want to run, force less on the brawl and more maybe go for like a dive composition potentially. But our second map has been chosen from the side of Fracture. We do know what it is, and it is going to be Rialto. I haven't seen all too much Rialto, if I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how often chosen. I mostly see, if I'm going to be honest with you, I've mostly been seeing a Havana in terms of that escort map. So we'll have to find out what kind of compositions they want to cook up here, but I think it is the right step in Fracture's favor. They'll have to be playing something a little bit differently. Probably not going to be running that Ramatra here. Could run the Diva, could run the Winston, could run the Hazard, but they're also going to get that first ban, and that's something that's going to have so much power, especially since you saw what 7DS ran on that last map, and that could influence you a ton.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing here. DYS have the option to maybe go for the Hazard ban, like you just mentioned. We do see Hazard being played on Rialto a decent amount. Not expecting that they're going to play the Ramatra here if you're Fracture. I think that, you test it out first to see if you can kind of get away with just running a brawl composition. But I think especially in these kind of higher tier divisions, it's really hard to just go for the front-to-back composition. They are actually going to go for maybe a bit of a targeted ban on to ASAP here, which I think after the damage that he did on Garden with that Iari, I maybe would go for this as well.
Yeah, Alari definitely not something that you typically run in Brawl, but with that Lucio taken off the board, they decided to run it, and it proved to be very fruitful. And so taking that Alari off of the board for, I think, the stronger Alari map. I think Rialto is definitely better for Alari than Lijiang Tower. So taking that off the board, making sure they're not able to play that poke support is a good call. I think it's a smart idea. Would I have taken something else off of the board? If I thought long enough, probably, but I think for the time being, Alari's a good one. Maybe I take care of maybe that Cassidy. But 7DS are going to respond with a Hazard ban, definitely making sure that they do play a different type of dive tank, probably going to be seeing that Diva mirror. But Fracture, we'll have to find out if they're going to be able to hang with it. We have our 2 bans, as both these teams trying to get into each other's heads and trying to figure out what kind of composition works the best. But I mean, it could go the way of Fracture, or 7DS could go up to match point here. It really is all just up to the heart of the cards.
Yeah, that's so true. It is really interesting to see 7DS going for the Hazard ban, because they were the ones that rolled out on Lijiang Tower with that Hazard. DYS were more opting to play for that Ramatra instead, but were kind of forced to match the Hazard because 7DS were playing the Hazard so well. So, yeah, I am really interested to see what this is going to mean for, not only for DYS, but also what does 7DS have up their sleeve for Rialto, where, typically a little bit more of these longer sight lines, but you still have a lot of high ground, especially on the first point and the second point that you really do want to be controlling. So like you mentioned, we could potentially see a little bit of Diva being played. You gave a little shout out to the Winston as well that we haven't really been seeing a whole lot of, but I think that if you take the Hazard off the table, it does maybe open things up for that Winston to be played a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that we did see that diva a little bit on Li Zhang. I don't think it worked out in either of their cases when we did see that diva, just kind of taking too much damage at the time. But I do think that there is a case in which it does happen. I think there is a world in which we do see the Winston. The world that we live in, probably not, but it is a world that exists, right, if you believe in the multiverse theory. But it's going to be interesting, right, to see what kind of compositions to come out with. As also something to consider is the fact that we're probably going to be seeing this Kiri Lucio, since that Lucio was banned out last time. But I mean, Kiri Lucio, since the dawn of time, has been one of the strongest backline comps that has ever been existing in Overwatch. Can you think of a better, like a more prominent, prevalent support comp than that Kiri Lucio?
Probably not since, like, GOATs. But, like, I mean, in 5v5, it's pretty hard to argue with. I mean, you could go all, yeah, since Overwatch 2, I think the Kiri Lucio has just been kind of the staple. It's all about survivability, really. And Lucio and Kiriko just have the best survivability of any of the supports in the roster right now. So I do think that Rialto, we do have a slight window to maybe play something a little bit different. You kind of mentioned that we've been seeing a lot of Havana. That's another map where you have these really long sight lines. So sometimes teams can get away with playing a bit more of the flex support options, sometimes even a double flex support. Every now and then we get to see an Ana here on Rialto. I think that I am probably anticipating that we are going to have the diva come out as well. I think that Best had an okay time on that hero, so I think that probably not going to get to see the Ana, but definitely an opportunity to maybe have something a little bit different in the backline. I think worth mentioning as well is that no DPS bans for this map, so that Emre is going to be back on the table.
Yeah, really interesting to see if that Emre will be played out here. But we have our lineups, no substitutions from either of these teams. We'll be having the exact same 5v5 situation. I was actually thinking about different compositions, and I want to give a quick little minor shout out to Ana Brig. I think Ana Brig, it has its place. I think it's not very often, but on those dive maps, when you do run that Winston, I think that Ana Brig is pretty common.
On Gibraltar.
On Gibraltar. But I mean, I think it is a staple in terms of that backline. But we're not going to talk in hypotheticals. We're going to talk about the current situation, which is Rialto starting up, has been taken over from Talon, and we do see this Diva mirror to start up with. And very interesting to see no Lucio. I do think that if you were not going to play Lucio, it'd probably be making the most sense on this map. But we are going to see Kermi on that Brigitte, probably to stop a little bit of that dive. As I'm not talking about 7DS's comp, because it's not real for 20 more seconds.
Roadhog isn't real, he can't hurt you. Yeah, I think note over on the Emre for Fracture makes a lot of sense as well. I don't really have any fall-off damage to be worried about, and like I mentioned, some pretty long sight lines here on Rialto, so gonna be lots of consistent damage being put out by Note. 7DS, the doors will be opening shortly here, so they are going to lock in a composition that makes a little bit more sense here. We are, once again, going to get that Brig Kiriko matchup here. Delta going to show us a little bit of Ashe, though. So, again, lots of long-range potential here, and those dynamites could be deadly.
Yeah, those dynamites are going to be a lot of pressure, and Bob, I think, is probably a little bit of a controversial take, but I think Bob is one of the strongest ults in the game currently, as it is a lot of pressure from 7DS. They're going to be going over to that high ground with their Diva. Is taking a lot of damage, and Delta opening up with a kill onto Note automatically makes it a 4v5, and this push is going to be getting some nice legs under it, as the hit scan already taken off the board. YB Ronin on that Tracer, pressuring out Delta for the time being, but that recall has already been forced. Going to have to fly out for the time being, as Nepu is going to be looking for something, but Delta has found another one onto Ascend. That's 2 picks already for Delta, and a third onto YB Ronin. Beautiful shots from Delta on this Ashe, a beautiful showing from the hit scan, and they're going to keep this push going. Minutes off the clock, but they're already about to get first point, as a lot of pressure getting put through. Note taking 2 shots in the head, and that's going to be Nepu off of the map. YB Ronin gets a trade onto Delta, but ASAP able to get another kill, so it's looking like that's already going to be the first cap for 7DS, and they look dominant.
I mean, is that the fastest first point cap of Rialto I've ever seen. It's probably up there. I mean, doesn't even feel like Fracture got a fight at all. And yeah, it was really just Delta controlling the show here. So fantastic time bank here for 7DS. And they're going to get themselves set up on the high ground here to work with as well. Kermie is going to make that swap over on to the Lucio. So off of that Brig, just wasn't really able to stop any of the damage coming in from Delta.
Yeah, I think it's a smart swap. I don't know how much the Lucio will be able to perform, but I think it's better than the Brigitte. Not really when there's the situation of that dive. I guess you stop the Diva, but 7DS have a lot of ults on the board. I mean, pretty much every single thing on the table for them has a lot of pressure getting put through onto that high ground. Delta going to be Coach getting up to the high ground, probably going to be throwing a Bob here. Override Protocol has been utilized from Note. Also a Rush. Bob has been also popped, but Delta's going to be able to shut down Note mid-air. Beautiful showing. A lot of ults have been forced from both of these teams. There's going to be a Pulse Bomb attached to the remech, and they're going to immediately be out of the car. Nepu has been able to finalize the kill onto that Diva mech, and a lot of pressure coming through onto Best, but Nepu not able to get that pick. There's the Pulse Bomb coming through. There's also a Rush and ASAP using that rally as they're going to be trying desperately, and ASAP going to be dying with that rally up, and so a lot of ults are being committed right now. 7DS need to win out this fight, but Fracture are back, and they're going to be in a good situation. YB Ronin out of the engagement, a 4v5 for the time being, as a lot of reliability from Kermie on this Lucio, just kind of speeding out whoever is needing it. And Fracture, it looks like they're going to be able to get the hold for the time being, but Best is not out of it just yet. A lot of the side of 7DS is back, a lot of ult charges coming online here, and I mean, despite everything, 7DS desperately trying to get something done as Nepu going to be out of that car here. Could be an opening here for 7DS.
This has been a very, very messy fight here. 7DS have just kept pushing this payload forward, though, approaching the checkpoint here. DYS need to find some stabilization. They have the beat to work with. They don't have Ronin in the fight, though, so you're not going to have any cleanup on these Alins, and 7DS just have not stopped with this aggression. They're still in the fight. They're building up ults of their own to work with right now. DYS feels like they are just fighting for their lives in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's still this fight is still going on. By the way, Pulse Bomb from Sizz, not going to be able to connect on anybody. Saw his demons and decided to pulse them instead, as Best going to be taken out of the car. Going to use that bomb, but gets taken down before they're able to get the remake. Kermie's off the board, but Nepu's able to get a trade onto Why You Mad. A Rush has been utilized. Sizz is taken off of the board here, and finally, Fracture are going to get a hold going and a breath of fresh air for them.
Cool. And yeah, for us as well, yeah. So that means, yeah, DYS gonna get themselves set up on the high ground. I will say, I feel like they definitely could have committed 1 or 2 more ults into that fight, but they didn't. They held on to 4 here, so that is gonna be massive for this next fight. But 7DS, because of the aggression and how much damage they've been doing, they're gonna have 3 ults of their own to work with, including that Bob, which we saw massive value from last time.
Oh, Best is out of the car. Beat and Override Protocol have been utilized from the side of Fracture here. I don't know if it's a little bit of an over-ulted situation, but it doesn't really matter when you find the rest of the picks here. And 7DS are going to be backing up for the time being, as they're going to take this loss a lot better than the last one that they had, as a little bit of breathing room for Fracture. 2 minutes left on the clock.
Ronan typing names, I'm not sure, scratching his nose. Either way, 7DS have had a lot of this momentum halted here, and they could very well get stalled out on this bridge. Okay, finding the pick onto Note, though, is a good start. That's a lot of the pressure that's going to stop you from crossing those open spaces.
There's the Bob, popped through from Delta, trying to find a lot of pressure. Ascend is going to be dropping incredibly low, going to have that TP already utilized, and it looks like YB Ronin going to be taking a lot of pressure. Pulse Bomb comes out. The Suzu has been forced, but YB Ronin not out of the engagement just yet. Delta has somehow beefed that entirely, and there's the rally coming through from ASAP. Pulse Bomb still available, as both these teams trying to get anything done. Nice bash, and that's going to be Nepu out of the car. Note has been able to find the kill on the Best, however, so that's going to be a really good start for Fracture's hold. Sizz is going to be able to find a Pulse Bomb kill, but it doesn't all matter too much, as it's just Delta left, takes themselves off the map here, and another quick reset for 7DS, but they don't have a lot of time left in order to do that.
No, and once again, you're going to be at this issue of trying to get across this bridge. You don't have any speed to work with here, and Note is going to be able to get himself set up back on this high ground again. Ooh, not quite fast enough, though. Quite a few members of 7DS have found their way into this lower part of second point, so now it's a matter of trying to build up these support ults for DYS. You have the Kitsune Rush advantage, and you shut down Sizz.
Well, that makes it a 4v5 situation, and like you said, both support ults online here for Fracture, as Kermi going to be doing a really nice job just keeping everybody alive and healthy. 15 seconds left on the clock, and 7DS haven't actually really gotten any push going towards the objective here. 10 seconds left on the clock. They need to go for a touch here. They cannot really afford to take that high ground any much longer. 5 seconds. There's the first touch from Best. Has that car. There's the rush from Ascend. There's nothing to match it. Why you mad? Only 80% and counting. They need to find some kind of picks here before this ult advantage runs away from them, as an override protocol is also coming online, but Best is taking all the damage in the world. Gonna have to fly out for the time being. A pulse bomb comes through, gets the kick onto Delta, who's gonna be taken out of the engagement. Already a 4v5, and that bomb has been forced. The beat and override protocol has been utilized, and now there's the rush from Why You Mad, but it doesn't matter all too much, as there's a raining M-Ray fire on the objective. A nice D-mech there, and Note's gonna be able to find a 3k and stop the push from 7DS. Despite the rough beginning for their defense, they're gonna hold strong on second point.
But like all of the push that was acquired for 7DS was done in kind of like one go. Once they got shut down, they had such a hard time finding their way back into this second point. Even if they found an opening pick, DYS was able to answer with one or two of their own, set themselves at an advantage. And I think, yeah, the icing on the cake there is Note having that override protocol for the overtime fight. It is such a strong ultimate in, you know, any regular fight, but in an overtime fight when you don't have the resources to send Best up to contest Note in this air, it's just all the damage raining down. You have the beat for good measure as well. So yeah, fantastic job here from DYS to stop what looked like it could have been a runaway train for 7DS.
Yeah, 7DS just got shut down, and they got shut down hard. They were going 100 miles in a second, and then they hit a brick wall with all of that momentum, and they kind of broke all their teeth, which has actually happened to me before. But anyways, Fracture going to be on the attack now. The goalpost has been set. They only need to get to 98.09 meters in order to get the win here and even up the series. Definitely possible, but 7DS not willing to give it up for free, obviously, as they're going to be starting on that defense. Delta's still going to be on that Ashe. Definitely could be the source for all their problems. I do think I like the Ashe better on defense than I do the attack. You're just able to hold better angles, but we'll have to find out as these attacks going to be starting now. As right now, just a little bit of poking game, a little bit of a setup here from Fracture, not really finding anything all too much. No, taking a little low, but going to be able to stabilize for the time being. Nothing major is going to be coming out from these kind of poke engagements, as oh man, Sizz going to be pushing up to Note, not going to be able to find that pick, however, as these teammates are, the push is just going right. 30 seconds have passed. This cart is just getting pushed around a little bit. Note taken incredibly low. Gonna have to stabilize for the time being. And the Suzu has already come through. So there's gonna be a free dynamite here from Delta, who's just farming up ult charge. As now there's gonna be a fight on the objective here. Sizz is gonna be going back up to that high ground, trying to look at these players who are on this balcony. Not gonna be able to find anything for the time being. A nice dive onto Nepu is gonna shut them down. And so this is gonna be a really nice situation in which 7DS are gonna be able to get the hold going once they clean up the rest of these kills, despite the fact that Fracture were able to get some really good positioning going.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that Fracture really does have to make this rotation up to the high ground. Late kills on Takurmi and YB Ronin mean that it's just more time off the clock here for Fractures. They have to go for another regroup, and all the while it's going to be 7DS getting themselves set up back on this high ground again. And like you mentioned, having this Ashe on the defense is really, really beneficial, because you have this coach gun to just deny anybody that tries to push up onto this high ground, and you have the Tracer to follow up on the damage.
Yeah, that's a really nice opening pick on Ascend here, and honestly, I think Fracture just need to leave. There's nothing else that you can do in this situation. You just need to leave. Like, you're not winning this engagement. YB Ronin's dead, so is Note. I mean, this is just staggering yourself, and now Nepu is going to be staggered to the Kingdom Come. They're not going to be able to find. Oh god. Oh jeez. Can we show that on broadcast? that feels not allowed.
Oh, poor Nepu. Yeah, that is a rough one for Fracture. I mean, they're building up to some ults, but the problem is that 7DS is way ahead in the ult economy, and they also still have control of this high ground. DYS just have not been able to permanently displace 7DS. They've done a really good job of kind of just kiting out every time DYS pushed in.
Oh my gosh, Note using that override protocol, but Ascend is going to be the first one to fall in this engagement. This override protocol has been shot a little bit in the air. Can we check Delta's PC? It doesn't matter all too much as Note is going to be able to finalize that kill, but Nepu's out of the mech. Note has been taken out of the board as well, and Kermi's going to be the next to fall. And despite that override protocol getting committed, 7DS are going to be able to hold strong as Best is doing their best Hanbin impression and being able to find so many picks. They still have 4 ults, and there's a minute and 20 left on the clock.
Oh, this is such a tough spot for Fracture to be in. I mean, you did find the kill onto Delta, but you have to regroup, so he's gonna get back into the fight by the time you're ready to take a fight of your own. And yeah, 4 ults still ready to go here. The positional advantage still with 7DS. They haven't been able to find their way around this first corner. Fracture had an impasse.
Yeah, there's the Bob coming through from Delta. Already finds a kill onto Note. A pulse bomb comes through, so Note is going to be taken down. Both of these hit scans off of the board for the time being. Just the 4v4 to determine the outcome of this fight. Sizz gets a pulse bomb. Best is going to be able to find the kill into Ascend. And YB Ronin going to be the next to fall. Sizz and Best are traded out, however, so this could still go either way. Kermi able to find the kill into YU Mad. A bomb has been utilized from Nepu. I mean, I guess. And you're going to be able to get the remake kill, so it's looking flashy for your clip dump. But there's 30 seconds left on the clock, and 7DS going to be able to have a recontest, and you might have needed that bomb.
You do still have the beat to work with here, but I think Best having the bomb of his own to work with is going to make it very, very hard for DYS to win this fight outright, because again, it's like a second life here for this Diva. Now, the cart is approaching this checkpoint. Kermi might have to commit the beat aggressively to just find an opening.
Yeah, as YU Mad already getting the kill onto Ronin. It's just going to be this beat coming through from Kermi. They're desperately trying to get something done, and Sizz gets traded out. A 4v4 situation. That's not going to be able to find anything as Delta's going to be taken off the board here. 1 meter left to go, and it's going to be 7DS in a 3v4 situation. A bomb is still alive, but there's the rally going to be going through here. ASAP going to be doing so much on this Brigitte, and YB Ronin going to get the trade, but it doesn't matter all too much. This Brig is alive and well. The bomb is still available. Override protocol from Note is going to try to find something. Best is out of the car, but the bomb has been utilized. They're going to try their best to find some kind of picks here, but the Vendetta is back from Delta, and it's going to be a little bit of a downward situation. Sizz able to find a kill onto Nepu with that pulse bomb, so there's no tank still alive. There's going to be Best taken out of the engagement as well, but Sizz is going to be able to find the kill on a Note. YU Mad off of the board. Ascend has used that rush. Kermi able to find another one onto ASAP, so it's a 3v1, and that Tracer is not able to clutch it up. A time refresh, and finally Fracture going to be able to cap this first objective, but man, was it challenging.
I really thought that rally from ASAP might have been the nail in the coffin here for Fracture, but the overtime spawns just favoring them a little bit more. They had folks that died a little bit earlier, so it was a wave of people getting back into the fight, including Ascend that had that Kitsune rush, able to keep DYS in this fight, but 2 minutes is all they have to work with here. It's all about just trying to get as much progress on this card as you can.
Nepu's gonna be down. Oh, whoa! Oh my gosh, I got scared by seeing like the underside of the map there, as it is a 4v5 situation. And something that I think is a problem here for Fracture is the fact that they lose members and then they just stagger themselves to something fierce. I mean, YB Ronin, they lost Nepu first in that engagement, making it a 4v5, and YB Ronin's like, yeah, I got this, throws the pulse bomb. You're not gonna win this. You need to reset, and you're stalling.
That's true. That's an issue that we saw on Lijiang Tower as well. Not going for a fast enough reset here to get more fights in, and I think that, especially where you're up against the clock pretty desperately right now, you need to have as many clean fights as you can. The pulse bomb! Oh no, Ascend! How?
Ascend has decided to jump onto a bomb that was threatening nobody, and so now it's going to be another quick reset for Fracture. As Ascend saw, wait, the rush was used from YU Mad? What is happening? There's a minute on the clock. Fracture have that beat and the override protocol, and 7DS have 3 of their own. This Bob could go massive.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. You just don't really have anything that's going to be able to deal with this Bob unless maybe Kermi can get like a boop onto the Bob. I mean, you get the start kill onto YU Mad, so at least you've taken a big source of healing out.
Oh, but Kermi's down, and that's a Bob that's going to be taken out of the board. We see the lifeless Omnic on the cart, but Best is able to find Ascend. Nepu's out of the car. ASAP is going to be able to find that kill. And so now 7DS going to be having 3 ults in the back pocket, and Kermi with this beat in last fight territory. They need to win 2 in a row, and this could be expensive from them. If they pop too many ults, 7DS can kind of just wait a minute and try to see if they can win out next.
Yeah, that's a really good point. DYS have to be thinking not just about this fight, but the one after as well. So we'll see what they can get done. They're making the rotation up onto the high ground. I think they have to do this, but they're going to be met with that rally.
Override Protocol has been utilized, and so is the Pulse Bomb. ASAP on that rally, trying to get something done, but Sizz is out of the equation. Delta dropping incredibly low. The rally's going to run out, not going to be able to find anything for the time being, and Ronan has found a second one. Delta's going to be the next shutdown. The Pulse Bomb is still available, but ASAP is going to be alone contesting the objective, and that's going to be a quick reset here for 7DS, and they're only going to get one more shot at closing this out, but Fracture have 3 ults of their own.
This is a great play from Ronan to get set up on the angle, so everybody was kiting out of Note's Override Protocol into the pistols of Ronan here. So yeah, has that Pulse Bomb ready to go. This Kitsune Rush from Ascent could be the make or break here, because YUMAT is not going to have one to match here. It's overtime though. DYS have to keep a foot on this cart.
Sizz is going to be able to find that kill onto Note. Neither of these Tracers really able to find a Pulse Bomb kill, as it is going to be that rush on the objective, trying to force out anything for the time being, and Ascend is able to get the kill on a Sizz, but Ronan's down, so is Ascend. It's looking like it's just this D.Va left on the objective. They have a bomb, sure, but it's just going to be for naught, as Kermi going to try their absolute best to stabilize as best they can, but no, 7DS going to be able to hold on a little bit longer and take the map, making it a 2-0 series.
Oh, this is now a match point here for 7DS. Both of these maps have been so close, but DYS just has not been able to pull together when they really needed to. Kind of mentioned that, you know, some of the fights going a little messy and they're lasting a little bit longer than they should. They're getting value from their ultimates when they have them, but I think that they're kind of, yeah, shooting themselves in the foot by just not being able to get as many fights in as they really needed to. And then 7DS doing such a phenomenal job on their attack with that really hard first push that DYS just, you know, barely making it through the first point, just didn't quite have the gas in the tank to get to that golden box on the second point.
Yeah, an unfortunate situation for Fracture. I mean, they're going to be down at 2 maps now, and their entire life in this tournament is going to be set in this next pick. This is going to be their last map selection of this lower bracket finals. They cannot screw up anymore. It's going to be so difficult to see what comes through here as a Fracture. They've already chosen something, and they've already taken that Alari off of the map here, so ASAP's probably going to be going back over to that. But Fracture is definitely, it's not over until the Fat Lady sings, of course. And I don't hear anybody in Twitch chat's mother singing, so we'll have to find out, of course, what the mentioned is going to be, what the map choice is going to be, what the ban is going to be. Everything in Fracture's favor definitely could go any single way. We can take a look at the leaderboards really quickly. I think this one was incredibly back and forth. I mean, look at Note, look at YB Ronan, and then look at, like, Best and Sizz, right? I think that, yeah, I mean, Sizz might be 29-9 right now, so, definitely a very good showing here from that Tracer, despite not being able to find any Pulse Bomb picks. But I think that their work worked out in the end, so they're going to be able to take Rialto in 15 minutes. A very good showing from 7DS to get that hold, and now Fracture going to be in a little bit of a pickle.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Fracture is going to have one more opportunity in this series to have their own map pick, but we are going to throw it over to a quick break while they get that all sorted out, so don't go anywhere. We will be back with the conclusion of this EUGM lower bracket finals after this.
Welcome back, everybody, to our series here in the postseason playoff between DYS Fracture and 7DS here in the EU GM tier. I am Mega Ninja, joined also by Rain. A very back and forth engagement despite the scoreline. Rain, how are we feeling going into map number 3?
I think that the concept of map number 5 is dwindling a little bit here, but DYS do have one more opportunity to try and turn things around here, and like we said before the break, they have one more opportunity to select the map and the mode that we go to, and looks like they have decided what map is going to be their turnaround point here, as we will be heading over to the Flashpoint map of Suravasa.
Yeah, Suravasa gonna be the pick there, as very much so a brawl kind of map. Not a lot of different high grounds that you can kind of take, except for, you know, there's a couple of exceptions, I would say. But I do think that it definitely does favor the side of that brawl kind of composition. So we'll have to find out what the thought process is behind that kind of map selection. But for the time being, it is going to be 7DS in a situation where if they win out this map, they guarantee themselves a grand final slot against Unlimited, as DYS Fracture going to be having their last first ban of the series. Does that make any sense? I don't know if that makes any sense, but you know what I mean, right? As they're going to be able to get that first ban on the board. What are you taking off the board here if you're the side of Fracture?
I'm very curious about what Fracture is even wanting to play here on Suravasa. We saw them play the Diva on Rialto. We saw them play the Hazard and on the Ramantra briefly on Lijiang Tower here. And like you mentioned, Suravasa does tend to lean a little bit more towards those brawl compositions. So I'm thinking that DYS want to go for the Ramantra comp. And it looks like they're also thinking that, as it is going to be, the Diva ban coming out from Fracture.
Yeah, they're tired of Best just doing whatever they want on that Diva, so they're going to be taking it off of the board for the time being for this map. As now it's going to be 7DS's turn to take something off of the board. They can only look at that damage or that support, as everybody knows, if they're familiar with the banning rules. So now they have a couple of interesting options, right? What do they want to take off of the board here? I think maybe there's a world in which you look at... I don't know. What are you looking at? Tracer, maybe? I'm not actually sure.
I would say the Lucio, but 7DS already went for the Lucio ban in Lijiang Tower. I think that they have to be preparing for this brawl composition to come out from the side of DYS. So typically I don't really encourage DPS bans just because there's so many other ways to fill the slot, but they are going to go for a DPS ban here, one that would be able to control Sizz a little bit on the Tracer, so that Cassidy taken off the board.
Yeah, Cassidy going to be doing a really good job of shutting down that Tracer, so they're going to be able to kind of roam free this map. As unfortunately, I think that not a lot of pulse bomb kills in that last map. It did look a little bit of ghost watching, as we do have our bans through. The Tracer is going to be running rampant now. I'm seeing a lot of people in chat talk about what happens if certain sticks come through, so you guys are going to have to keep that in mind here, as we'll probably, actually, definitely be seeing these Tracers out here for Suravasa, as we have our 2 bans, we have our lineups. I believe we're just waiting on getting our players all situated. I mean, Fracture, we've said it before, we'll say it again. It's not looking good, if I'm going to be honest with you. It's not looking great, but it's not over until it's over, I guess. I was trying to think of another analogy, but, I already used the fat lady one, so I don't really know. I don't know another one, actually.
Well, in technical terms, it's not over until Suravasa gets won by 7DS here. I mean,
true.
But I'm very interested. I feel like 7DS with that Diva ban on the table is probably just going to pivot maybe back towards that Hazard, where if they're anticipating the DYS is coming out on this Ramantra composition, you can pivot back over to that and once again just play the same way that they played on Lijiang, which is just ignore the tank, bother the DPS, bother the support, and when you have Sizz that's on the Tracer going to be unchecked by a Cassidy, it's going to be even easier to kind of target out the backline here for Fracture. So we'll have to see how Fracture is going to kind of adjust their playstyle, because Lijiang was close. You know, we've had close maps so far, but DYS has just not been able to kind of close any of them out, and Saravase is going to play very, very similarly to that Lijiang Tower map style. So I think that right now we really need to see Fracture lock in some of these fights. You kind of mentioned it on Rialto. They're losing one early, and they're committing ults into what is pretty clearly a lost fight, and you really cannot be doing that on these flashpoint maps where, you know, that percentage is going to tick up so quickly. You can't have staggered out fights. You need to clean things up.
Yeah, we are going to take a look at our lineups here. No substitutions, so this could potentially be the last time we see DYS Fracture on this lineup for this season. We're going to be seeing if they're going to be able to start the reverse sweep right here, right now, or if it's going to get shut down and 7DS are going to guarantee themselves a grand final shot and another chance at taking down Unlimited. This could go any single situation. I believe that it's not over until it's over. This could go either way. I'm not done with Fracture just yet. They can do this. I still believe in them, right? You know, Spider-Man wouldn't give up, and so neither should they. But we are going to be going into Saravase here. We'll have to find out what kind of compositions they're cooking up, and this really will be determining how 7DS will feel going into Grand Finals if they win this map right here, right now.
Alright, well, the pressure is on for Fracture. We'll see what they're cooking up. Their very last map selection here, potentially, in the entire CGL season. So, yeah, no, we're not going to have a Diva. We are not going to have the Cassidy to work with here. So, okay, Fracture is cooking something up for sure here. It looks like 7DS is going to move back over towards this this hazard composition, potentially anticipating that they could see a more kind of rush composition here from the side of DYS, but it looks like Note, yeah, gonna not stick on that Bastion. Nepu coming out on the Orisa is very interesting here. I do think that the Mauga can very much be played on Saravase, but instead, it is going to be the Orisa, so a lot of sustain available for the side of DYS here. So if they can just kind of focus down best on this hazard, I think that they'll have a good opportunity to kind of withstand the aggression that 7DS has been throwing out.
Yeah, it is going to be a nice start here for 7DS, just kind of getting set up on the objective for the time being. Delta taking a lot of damage on that Emray. Going to be able to stabilize for the time being as Fracture. Going to be going right on back into this engagement. Best going to have to kind of shut down this distance as Nepu taking a lot of damage. That already has that gold and spin been utilized, and so 7DS going to be pushing up with this advantage that they have. A lot of pressure getting thrown onto that Orisa. Oh, Note not going to be able to slide to safety, and they're going to be taken down, but Best gets traded. A very nice start here as Fracture could definitely get this job done. YB Ronin going to be taken off of the board, however, so this could still go either way. The tank is still alive, but Ascend is going to be the next to fall. It's just Kermi and Nepu. Kermi's going to be the next to fall, and so Nepu is going to be the last one on the side of Fracture, and 7DS get this first cap. A very good showing.
It was a good pick onto Best on that tank, but Fracture were just not able to pivot onto any of the other targets. 7DS playing very far away, and sticking away from the close range of YB Ronin is a great way to counter out this Reaper here. So yeah, percentage building here for 7DS. They're in control of this point. The onus is on DYS to try and find their way onto this point without taking a whole lot of damage from Delta.
Yeah, as right now it's looking like YB Ronin going to be able to find that opening kill onto Sizz. Already a 4v5 situation. Best taking all the damage in the world. Going to be able to stabilize for the time being, but it's a lot of damage as, yeah, Best is going to be the next to fall. It's looking like Delta, ASAP going to be able to find another kill onto Ronin here, so this Brig is going to be doing their best to back up for the time being, but the flip goes through for Fracture. YU Mad's going to be off the board, so is Delta, and so they're going to be able to win out this fight pretty clean.
Yes, and that's what Fracture needed. You find the initial kill onto Best, and then you clean everything up. That's that's how you're going to win with this Orisa composition. So nice to see them in control here. It is going to be a lot of ults still for 7DS to push back onto this, though. Looks like they are wanting to take the rotation around the far side here. They want to get Delta set up, has this override protocol ready to go, but YB Ronin is lurking on that Reaper.
Yeah, there's the override protocol coming through from Delta. Beat has been utilized, and ASAP is going to be the first to fall, actually. So it looks like this could really go either way. The gold has been utilized. Delta is going to be running into oncoming traffic. YB Ronin able to shut that down. The rush has also been utilized. So both support ults were used from Fracture, but they're going to be staggering out best here for the time being. A little dangerous to be staggering out Amalga, but don't worry, they're trained professionals. They're going to be able to shut that down. And now it's coming into... Actually, I think that's the flashpoint secured for Fracture.
Yep, I gotta agree with you there, especially, yeah, Best dying late there. There's just not gonna be an opportunity for a recontest here, so that'll be Fracture getting the first point on the board here for Suravasa. We will be heading over to Temple for flashpoint number 2. Now, the spawn is going to be in the favor of 7DS, and they do have still a lot of ults to work with here. Both those support ults from DYS were committed, so you're not gonna have anything to match this Kitsune Rush from YU Mad. You might need to just kite out a bit.
The rush is coming through from Why You Mad. It's a really good space maker, as you did say before, but Fracture's not giving up this engagement just yet. They still have a lot in the bank, and so as this rush going to dissipate for the time being, there's an overclock coming through from No, looking for something, but a pulse bomb from Sizz is going to shut that down almost instantaneously. A downpour has been utilized, and not going to be able to find anything, and so this is a very expensive fight from 7DS. They need to win this out, and with Sizz and Best finding picks of their own, it looks like it's going to go that way, but man, was it expensive.
Oh, it sure was, and I mean, at least you did get the overclock and the Terra Surge out of DYS, so you just have to be concerned about this Blossom from YB Ronin, which can be a pretty hard ult to get value with here, especially where 7DS, they are playing quite split here. Delta is playing pretty far off on an angle. Sizz is, of course, kind of working on his own terms here, but DYS is taking the rotation through coast. They're trying to force a fight on this point so that they can get value with this Blossom.
Yeah, Best is already going to be taken off the board here, and that might just be Fracture taking this flip instantaneously. I mean, 7DS, they're just going to be kiting for the time being, but a little bit of a late kite from Delta. They're going to be taken down a little bit late in the engagement. Now Best is swapping over the Orisa, and Fracture going to be able to get their bodies on the objective and start the flip going the other way.
I think that Best making this swap to the Orisa really was needed. The hazard composition, you know, you're trying to go in for those hard dives in the engages and have the follow-up from your DPS, but Nepu was just taking so much space on this Orisa that Best never had the opportunity to go for one of those dives. So 7DS are going to have these DPS ults coming online for them. This Blossom still ready to go from YB Ronin, though. So at some point, 7DS is going to have to make their way onto the point, and they could be met with this Blossom.
Yeah, it is going to be difficult for them to kind of push through, as Best is already going to be speared off the map. That's not good, right? That's what we in the industry call not good, but Sizz has found 2 picks of their own. A beautiful showing from the Stracer to get both of these supports. Why You Mad, however, off of the board. The rush is still online from the side of Fracture, despite that Curie being off of the board. Delta gets a kill on the Note, but Sizz is able to finalize that pick here, and so it looks like Fracture is going to be going up 2-0 in this Flashpoint map, and they're looking to get it done right here, right now.
Suravasa, it might be the exact turning point that DYS needed here. They're hitting that map point, moving next door to Ruins for point number 3 here on Suravasa. This is going to favor that spawn of DYS, and they're going to be able to get set up first here. So it is going to be that Blossom still ready to go, the Terra Surge and the Beat coming online for DYS as well. So they have a lot going their way to try and win out this first fight and get the point fulfilled.
There's the Terra Surge, has been utilized, so has that Reaper ult, and so it's going to be a complete stomp here from Fracture as Best's going to be taken down. Sizz finds a trade onto Ascend, but it's pretty much all for naught. Another one onto Ronin, that's not bad. You get to go like, hey guys, got my 2. So it is going to be a reset from 7DS as the first cap going the way of Fracture into this third Flashpoint, and this is looking pretty dire for 7DS.
Yeah, and the thing is, if they could just live a little bit longer in these fights, Sizz is finding the value. He's just not able to get set up early enough to be able to create an opening for 7DS, because they're just getting walked on by Nepu and YB Ronin. They have the Kitsune Rush to work with, though. It might be enough to break through.
The rush has been utilized from YU Mad. Pulse Bomb also coming through from Sizz, and they're going to be able to find another pick onto Ronin. This Kiriko 1 HP, and Note is going to be able to slime out Sizz. Best gets the kill on Nepu, however, and so it's just Note left alive. They're going to be able to get bodies on the objective eventually. Yeah, there it is. As Note going to be taken down a little bit late in the engagement, and 70S going to get the flip. They're going to allow 58%, and they need to play perfectly from here on out, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. ASAP is over on that ERE, so you have lots of damage potential added on to this composition. And, of course, the Terra Surge ready to go here for Best as well. Note with the overclock needs some space to work with here, so you're going to have to play a little bit slower here. Let Nepu and YB Ronin create the space, force out some cooldowns, and then use this overclock.
There's the overclock coming through from Note. Gonna be making a lot of space. A nice shot onto Sizz there, but Ronin gets traded out beforehand, so it's already a 4v4. This overclock gonna fall away. Not gonna be able to find anything else besides that one onto Sizz. And so now it's looking like this still could go either way. 7DS still set up on the objective. A lot of pressure getting put onto Best, however, and ASAP gonna be taken off the board. There's Terra Surge from Best. Delta looked at incredibly low. Shut down from Note. Nepu gets traded out, sure, and Sizz is able to find another kill on a Note. So it's looking like this really could go either way. Kermi's able to find a kill onto YU Mad. The rush is getting utilized here from the side of Ascend, but Best is able to shut that down. So now this Orisa 1 HP gets taken off of the board here, and 70S going to have to do a quick little reset here, but that rush was utilized from Fracture, so they could definitely win this.
Yeah, right. There's definitely lots for 7DS to come back into this fight, both those DPS ults and that Captive Sun as well, and it is going to be coming up to potentially a last fight territory if 7DS are not able to get this flip back over. And with DYS building up to this Terra Surge and this Blossom, I mean, that combo won them out the last fight that they had it available, so it could happen again.
Captive Sun comes through, connects onto a couple, but ASAP going to be dropping incredibly low from this Reaper, who's going to be able to not get taken off of the board just yet. But there's the Reaper coming through, just connects onto ASAP, realizing that the alpha threat is the one remaining. Nepu gets taken off of the board here as an overtime situation ticks down. The rest of 7DS are going to barely be able to touch. Note has killed Delta. Sizz is still alive, has a Pulse Bomb available. This is last fight territory. Ascend off of the board here. Note taken down next. Beat has come through from Kermi, who thinks that it's winnable, but I don't know if it is, as a rush comes through from YU Mad. The flip has come through, and so now Kermi just stalling for the time. Overtime is activated. Nepu is swapped over to the ball and goes for that first touch, but they're going to be next to fall, and 7DS are going to take that flashpoint. Fracture panicked for no reason.
Yeah, it was a bit of a panic there. Unfortunately for Kermi, the beat only connecting onto himself. So DYS is going to move Nepu back on over to that Orisa, and 7DS are trying to do a mini reverse sweep here on Saravasa. We'll be heading over to Palace for the next point. They hold on to the Terra Surge for Best. Sizz has this Pulse Bomb to work with as well, but DYS is going to get themselves set up on the point first. They are in control of this high ground. This is exactly where Note wants to be on this Sojourn, especially with that overclock coming online.
Yeah, I mean, Overclock has to do everything, and 7DS definitely going to have an ult advantage here. But it looks like 7DS is going to be going over to Mirror. There's the Overclock coming through. ASAP already off the board. Terra Surge has been utilized, and a nice shot from YU Mad. Note able to find 3 picks of their own, looking for a 4th potentially. Shuts down Best, and so now it's just Sizz to try their absolute best. Gets a trade on the Note, sure, and the first cap actually goes the way of 7DS, so they're able to farm 15%. Sizz has killed 3. Wait a minute, Sizz is trying their absolute best. This is still winnable for 7DS. Sizz has found 3 kills. It's just Nepu and Ronin. They're going to be back here now, and so this really could go the way of 7DS despite that flip coming through. Sizz doing their absolute most, looking like prime proper. This fight is still ongoing as Nepu going to be set up 64 to that Terra Surge, and the 7DS going to try their absolute best to get something done here. They can maybe get the flip here as Kermi goes down. Sizz is on a tear right now, kills Note. Sizz is nuclear. Somebody stop this guy.
All right, the flip comes through for 7DS, looking for maybe a late kill onto Ascent. Going to rethink that. Doesn't want to take a kunai to the dome here, but honestly, fantastic showing here from Sizz. The team of 7DS back in control. They are going to be able to grab the lead here on Palace as well. Now, they don't quite have any ults online, so if Ascent uses this Kitsune Rush quickly, they might have the advantage.
There's Ascend using that rush, trying to look for something, but Ronin already off of the board here. ASAP able to finalize that kill. Sizz in the back line, always a scary thing to think about. Has that Pulse Bomb online, and Kermi's going to be the target here. Gonna have it, and Kermi's going to be down. That's not a good advantage as Nepu's able to find the kill into YU Mad, but Note's going to be the next to fall. Note is going to get taken out of the board, and Sizz has found 2 more, and so 7DS are gonna start the reverse sweep here. I don't think there's a second touch, and we're gonna be going to that 5th flashpoint.
Yeah, Garden looming on the horizon here. 7DS showing exactly why they needed that Cassidy ban to come through. Sizz is just uncontested on this Tracer right now. I'm a little surprised to see that we haven't had a swap come through from DYS. I mean, there's no speed on the side of 7DS, so you could potentially have Kermie move over onto this Brig instead to try and help kind of stave off this Tracer, but I think that up against the frontline pressure from Best, it's just so hard to find an answer to this Tracer without bringing out one of your own.
Sizz in the backline. Terra Search has been utilized, not going to be able to find anything, and actually loses their life in the engagement. Ronin doing a lot of damage. The Pulse Bomb comes through, but Delta and Sizz are going to be able to find ones of their own. ASAP found a second one, and that's going to be 7DS getting that cap. Note's going to be able to leave and tell their grandchildren about how they survived the attack, and so now it's going to be 7DS taking control, and they're looking like this could be a reverse sweep here on Flashpoint.
They are looking to close out this lower bracket finals very, very quickly. They have the Captive Sun and the Terra Surge to work with. Both these DPS ults ready to go here for DYS. It's just going to be a matter of trying to find your way on the point and surviving this onslaught from 7DS.
There's the Captive Sun. Sizz has been neutralized. The alpha threat has been cut. This still could go the way of 7DS. However, Reworld gets put onto Why You Mad, gets shut down instantaneously from Delta, and so now it's looking like this could go the way of 7DS. ASAP gets traded. Note with a nice pick there, but the percentages are still going the way of 7DS. Fracture need to move fast. Ronin has finally made the swap over to the Tracer, but it might be too little too late, as Fracture going to be set up on the objective. They're going to be met with this, Overclock has been utilized, and Sizz is going to be shot in the head. They're going to be taken off of the board here. And a flip comes through. Overclock finds another one. Note is going absolutely insane. Oh, a third one from Note, and they're going to be trying to get something done. And now they actually need to play perfect here as Kermie and Ascend have their ults. They could win this. This really could go anywhere.
Yeah, 83% is big for 7DS to be in control of. So DYS need to win out a couple more fights here. I like Ronin swapping over onto this Tracer, but you just can't stop Sizz.
Oh my god, Sizz is just going actually insane. Gonna be in that backline. Overclock has been utilized from Delta, forcing out the rest of Fracture to back up for the time being. Flip almost comes through, but Ronin off the board here. A rush has been utilized from Ascend, but they're not gonna be having the players alive. 89% and counting, and 7DS still have a Terra and a Pulse Bomb online. Sizz has been going nuclear. Kermie pops that beat first. Oh my gosh, there's barely a touch there as Kermie desperately tries to get something done, but Nepu off of the board first. Note is gonna be looked at next. Sizz finds another one onto Ascend, and ASAP is going to be able to finalize that kill. Ronin there, not going to be finding anything, in 7DS going to reverse sweep on Flashpoint and take the series in a 3-0, guaranteeing themselves a slot in the grand finals.
Fantastic stuff here from 7DS. The last time that these two teams faced off, it was 7DS that took the win, and history does repeat itself here. Great showing from the side of DYS. It was close throughout every single map that we went to. It looked so close on Surabasa for them to turn things around. Note looking absolutely fantastic on that Sojourn, but it is the end of the line here for DYS. A fantastic run through the lower bracket, but they will not be able to find their way to that grand finals.
I think that both of these teams played incredibly well. And I wanted to talk about in that play of the game, by the way, DYS Fracture loses the fight actually because Sizz just kills like 4. I mean, Sizz is 36-8 with 11k damage on Tracer is disgusting. You're like, well, hello? What is going on? I mean, Sizz, I know I might have been glazing a little bit too hard, but I mean, like, can you really blame me after the performance that they just put up? I mean, that was just completely disgusting from them. All of 7DS played incredibly smart and tactical, and they're going to be able to get the win, the dub, and they're going to be able to secure themselves a grand final slot and a chance to take away Unlimited's reign. Oh my god, Sizz.
Right, and that's the thing, is that like DYS, again, they have been in this lower bracket since round 1. They took out EMC Chimera, the #1 seed heading into the playoffs here. DYS has looked so good on this playoff run, and 7DS has just stepped up and just been that little bit better here, which again, I mean, we gotta throw home that like these are the middle of the pack stacked teams coming into this playoffs, right? This was our number 4 seed and our number 6 seed, and they had made it all the way to this lower bracket finals, and I am so excited to see the grand finals. I think that 7DS versus Unlimited is going to be a heck of a grand finals for our EUGM tier.
I mean, I really do want to watch 7DS again. I like how all of these replays are just Sizz killing everything. I think that's kind of funny. But no, I do think that, like you did say, I mean, the seeding in the situation was something that was so completely unpredicted, right? I mean, it was the number 6 versus the number 4 seed in the situation, and 7DS win this, right? Even in this matchup, they weren't supposed to win, and they took it in a 3-0 situation. And now the grand finals for the EUGM tier is going to be the number 5 versus the number 6 seed? Like, nobody saw this coming at all, and so it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that matchup goes, if Unlimited is going to be able to take that and remain undefeated, or if 7DS are going to be able to take their revenge and win their number 1 spot. But a very good showing from 7DS and from Fracture, right? I think they also played really good. They just were not able to get the job done at the end. But I do think that 7DS played incredibly well, gonna be able to guarantee them grand final slot, and just make a fan out of me today.
Yeah, I gotta agree. A really impressive showing from 7DS. And yeah, looking at the map score, I mean, you can see every map was so close. Even Rialto coming kind of down to the wire there. So awesome to get to see such a close series, even if we didn't get to go past that that third map here. I think also a big shout out to 7DS when it came to their bans. I think that Cassidy ban on Surabasa really did just kind of make the map for them, allowing Sizz to just more or less go uncontested on that Tracer. YB Ronin not making the swap until pretty much the end. So yeah, really good job from 7DS having a read on what bans were really going to empower the compositions that they wanted to run.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be a very unfortunate situation in terms of the bans. I mean, I do think that Ronin should have swapped to that Tracer. If you're not going to have that cast to kind of shut down that Tracer, the second best thing is like either a Brig or having your own Tracer to try to mark them as best as you can. Allow them to not just kind of run rampant into that backline. But not going to be the way, and, you know, hindsight 2020 is a hell of a drug. And so for the time being, it is going to be 7DS taking down DYS Fracture, sending them away for the season. But I believe that they'll be coming back stronger. But we'll get confirmation on that when we come back, as we will have interviews from both the winners and losers from this in just a couple of moments. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave.
Welcome back, everybody, to our post-game interviews. I say with parentheses around the S because it is going to be both the winners and losers. But we're going to start out here with the winners interview. We have with us Best from 7DS. Best, how are you feeling after that win?
Yeah, really, it was the only option. We knew we was going to win. Was very confident walking into that. A bit closer than we'd have liked, but yeah, we're feeling good.
Yeah, I did want to talk about that just really quickly to start things off. Despite it being a 3-0, this was a really back-and-forth engagement. I mean, Li Zhang went to all three sub-maps. The Rialto game went down to like the final seconds, and then you had to reverse sweep on Servasa. And so I just want to kind of ask, was that really an expectation, or were you guys, kind of not scared, but like a little bit nervous after each map, despite winning this in a 3-0 series?
Slightly. We walked out with a bit of a weird roster because our main support player wasn't here, so it did mean that we got a bit limited on the things we could play because unfortunately Lucio wasn't in anyone's hero pool. So yeah, like I said, a lot closer than I was expecting, but was able to manage to pull through and in great fashion. I was just giving you a show, really.
Oh,
appreciate
that.
Yeah, right? It was definitely fun to watch. So, how did you guys kind of prepare coming into this, knowing that DYS had been, running through this lower bracket, looking really fantastic the whole time? I mean, all of their matches in the lower bracket until they ran into you were 3-0s here. So, did you do any kind of like scouting on their previous matches, or how did you kind of prepare to come into this kind of do or die match?
Yeah, we did do a bit of prep for them. We kind of knew what they was already going to play from our series a couple of weeks ago. So we were prepared. We're more looking towards the Unlimited Finals match, to be honest. Maybe we looked too lightly on this match, looking back on stuff, but like I said, we was able to pull out through the end.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna kind of lead on. You mentioned that your main support player wasn't here. You guys still had a really fantastic showing. So, how did you kind of adjust your compositions to not have the main support? Did you play everybody else kind of on the heroes that you would normally play, and then just kind of pivot around the flex support, or did you have to make a lot of swaps in your composition overall?
Well, I actually had a tank player on flex support, annoyingly, so we had to kind of only play Kiri. We couldn't play any back or anything like that. So yeah, we had to kind of focus on structuring it around the Kiri, and then QV, our other support, could only play that Brig and Alari comp. So yeah, it did limit us to what we was playing. So we kind of focused on trying to play the D.Va comps where we could kind of bolster that backline, and playing the Hazard where we can kind of look for backline trades. But yeah, like I say, we maybe looked on this match too lightly. We didn't do any preparation, really.
Yeah, I do want to ask in regards to now, congratulations on going to the grand finals, but I did want to ask you guys, Unlimited is the team that sent you down here in the first place. They 3-0'd you not too long ago, and now you're going to be getting that rematch incredibly fast. And so I have to ask you guys, are you guys nervous? Is there going to be a little bit of a lock-in session before that matchup? Are you guys going to be doing things differently? What's your plan? What's your thought process? What are your guys' mentalities?
Yes, so the Ultimate team are really good and have a really good set of players, but a lot of their strategy was banning our core composition, so it was like D.Va, Kiri, Lucia, Emre comp that we like to play. So that they kind of worked through our bans, banned the Lucia, banned the Kiri, banned the Diva, so we want to try focus on trying to utilize our bans a bit better and trying to optimize. With it being a longer series, we might be able to play that comp a little bit more, which we shall see.
Yeah, we will see. But before we do let you go to celebrate with your team, I'm going to give you the opportunity to shout out whoever you want. So anybody in the world, anything in the world, who do you want to shout out?
I want to shout out my dog. He just had an operation. Big up Barney, the GOAT. He really gets us through the games. He's our mascot, and we all really love him. Good job, Barney.
I want to see this dog now. I will be expecting photos of this dog. But I do want to say thank you for being here for this interview. We'll let you go for now to go celebrate with your team after this really massive win, and good luck in the grand finals.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, shout out the dog. Oh, my heart.
So shout out the dog. Always shout out your dog. Always shout out your dog.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's what you always have to do. But, not going to waste any time. We are here now with, unfortunately, the losers in this series. I feel bad saying losers, but, unfortunately. I'm sorry. Yeah, the
Exit
the
interview.
not winners.
Exit interview.
The not winners of this series. Nepu and Ascend here from DYS Fracture. How are you guys feeling after that very unfortunate loss?
Yeah, it is what it is, eh? It is what it is. They were kind of better on the day. Sis just kind of picked a fight where he sort of just killed everybody. It was just like, okay, great, fun. It's okay.
Yeah. I do want to talk about that, actually. I did want to talk about Sizz, because I do, it was kind of incredible watching them play, not downplaying any of your guys' individual plays. I think that Note went incredibly crazy. I think that you, Nepu, went absolutely insane on that Diva. But I do think that there was a little bit of maybe some compositional issues, especially on that Servasa. I think that maybe you swapped to that Tracer a little bit late. And so I just wanted to ask, what was your thought process in going into each of these maps? You started off 0-0, and then it went to 1-0, so you guys were like, okay, a little bit afraid, and then you went into 2-0, and you're like, oh, guys, let's
I'll be real.
Get a little scared.
It was never really like that. We were sort of like, after every map, we were sort of thinking, okay, we can still win. We went 2 down, okay, we can still win. It's still winnable. Let's keep going. It's, we were quite relaxed about it, still making jokes, because I feel as for like the Tracer swap, it's more like it's really easy to see that, looking back at it, we'd probably say the same, but in the moment we were so focused on what we had ults wise and how we wanted to rotate onto them, and I think we panicked a little bit on after the first 2 points. We started to kind of, I think we were so like, okay, we can reverse sweep, and we sort of just dropped off after that, and it is what it is, man.
Yeah, comp wise, it was like we thought we would feel much safer on the push map, especially, so we were happy to give them the push map, if you know what I mean, if we win, forces them to get it. Same with Flashpoint, but after we lost second, we were like, no, let's do something we're comfortable with. I think Hybrid, our most comfortable was Midtown, but we were like, we'll save that for after. But yeah, I think we just wanted to try play maps we were comfortable on, maps that we felt like we knew what we could do best. Yeah, I'd say that.
Not confused with the tank
with
best.
the player.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Thank you for the clarification there.
Oh, you're welcome. That's all right.
Want to talk about honestly, you guys had a really impressive run through this lower bracket. I mean, you come out, you made it all the way to the end. You fell in round number 1. So, talk me through a little bit about some of your previous matches, because those all ended up being 3-0s, including against, some really strong teams here. So I think out of all of the teams previously that you went up against in this lower bracket, which one of those gave you kind of the most trouble?
I think as weird as it sounds, I think OT Porridge definitely was scary.
Oh, they were annoying.
Partially
They were
because
so
it
annoying.
was after we had just come off a loss, right? And then because we had won our SCR game through forfeit. So we were a little shaky, a little unsure. But we knew what they were playing. It just was making sure we didn't deviate from what we had planned. EMC, I won't downplay at all. They were obviously very scary to go against, of course, they're very top seed. but it felt like we could play more of our comforts and more of what we like to play in Overwatch against EMC.
Yeah,
and I
it
think
just
that's what
sort of-
got us the W.
I think OTP Porridge just playing into that. It's just it forces you. You have to play so weirdly. I don't know how else to put it. It's just you have to play so differently than you'd normally play, and I think we figured it out, but it did take us a little bit, and it was just weird being forced out of our. Oh shit. Yeah, just weird being forced out of our comfort zones.
I feel you guys are definitely not the first team to feel that way about OT4. It's definitely not. I'll talk a little bit about, because this, of course, I'm going to ask for some strats since we're not going to see you in the grand finals.
Yeah.
But tell me, we've seen a lot of kind of meta changes throughout this entire season. So what has been kind of your team's most favorite comp to run out on?
Oh, we had a comp. That was certainly something.
Oh, what Malga? Oh man.
We had some Malga shenanigans
happy with
that certainly went there.
If-
I think recently though, D.Va, like Li Zhang, we love to play like a Ram Sim Cass with a Kiri Lucio. That was probably our most comfortable thing on Li Zhang. And I think on this, like today, it felt a little off, partially because like we didn't have access to the Lucio Kiri. I think we felt like you could probably see we were a lot more comfortable on that afterwards. Yeah, so like normally kind of a D.Va Brawly comp with a Reaper or a Sim is something we've quite enjoyed, and then Tracer whenever we feel like we want to play more comfort.
Well, we signed Ronan in mid-season, and when we did, I mean, he's the Tracer guy, so he came in and did a lot of that for us. So yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, obviously, if I had it my way, it'd be Anacomps, but I don't have it my way, so that's okay. But I'm easy. Like I kind of just play whatever I'm told to play, and most of the time that was Kiri. So it's just Lucio Kiri. To be fair, Nepu likes his Hazard, so a little bit of Hazard. That too. But yeah, it's kind of we sort of just played. Rather than playing the game, we played the man. Like we played who we were playing against, and we sort of just adapted around them because we have quite flexible players. So yeah.
Nice.
I will ask one more, but before I do, get you guys to give a shout out.
Yeah, no problem.
Coming into this playoffs, you guys were the number. Oh God, what is number
Fourth,
6
I
seed?
think?
I believe.
Or
Four,
six?
is
Oh,
it 4?
God.
Was it?
Oh God, were we still
They were
have
4. No, they were 4.
There were 4. There were 4.
Oh,
There were 4. Sorry, my numbers get confused. My numbers get confused.
alright.
But no, you guys came into this as the number 4 seed, and so I kind of just wanted to ask you guys, how were you feeling overall as to how your season went? Right? Did you guys exceed your expectations? I mean, you guys ended third. You guys did incredibly well. You ended in that third place ending, and so I want to ask, did you guys exceed your expectations? Was the goal just playoffs, and then from there you guys were happy, or were you guys just like, oh well, we would have liked to be that number 1 spot, but just what were you guys' expectations?
I mean, the goal was win. We just wanted to win. We wanted to be first, and so we went into it playing every game like that. But I think mid-season as well, we had a few games where we sort of just struggled, where we were trying to like get we kind of got our groove back around playoffs. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't know. I think we did okay. We could have done significantly better with the players we had, but it is what it is. Like not every season's gonna go 100%. So it is what it is.
I think we were able to. I guess on a more like metaphorical note, I quite enjoyed the process that we had. I think we had a lot of back and forth, a lot of ups and downs, as I think any team can attest that they'll have. And we had a lot of time to kind of sit down, talk about it, make sure that we were on the same page. I think that's what I'm quite happy with personally.
We grew quite a bit
throughout our journey. 100%.
Well, we do love seeing growth in teams, and before I do let you guys go, I am going to ask if there's anybody that you want to shout out. Anything and everyone. Who would you guys like to shout out to the world?
All of
Seb,
them,
do you want
really.
to go first?
Yeah, sure. I mean, all of them. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, especially Kermie. Obviously, he was here tonight. He was very ill, sinus infection, all that. Still played. He played great. Yeah, Ronan came in mid-season, did a lot for us. Note's been consistently good all season. Nepu's been great. I've thrown. Witty's been. Witty are like. I would say our 6th man. He started for most of the season, and he is certainly good enough to start. He just decided to stop. But he's great. He's been brilliant. Rav, our manager, like everyone's been great. So yeah.
For me, I think Seb, definitely do not undervalue yourself. You're a wonderful man.
I'm kidding, bro. You're good.
I think shout out Crimson and Shadowy, who weren't able to consistently play, but they are incredible people, incredible motivators, and I love them. Outside of the team, I have to shout out Lampy and Cuffy especially. They are incredible people. Cuffy was able to coach us as a team, and Lampy was able to coach me especially a lot personally, as well as a couple other members. They're incredible people. My team is incredible people. I love them all. I think they're awesome, and I can only wish them the best.
Beautiful shout outs. That was very emotional, but I do want to say thank you. Thank you guys for being here. We really do appreciate you guys. Go back to hanging out with your team, and hopefully we'll see you guys next season for CGL.
Probably.
Yeah, see where it goes.
Yeah,
okay.
most likely.
I'm crossing my fingers, but we'll let you go for now.
you're
We do
sweet.
appreciate you being here.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Take care.
Well, that is going to be the end of our. We're very emotional towards the end there, right? Yeah. Got a nice little sigh there, but we do get to take a look at the bracket here. 70S 3-0ing DYS Fracture, sending them to the grand finals against Unlimited. That will be our last matchup for this EUGM tier. Hopefully I'll be able to cast that one because I really want to keep watching Sizz, but I do think that that one would be a really exciting one to watch.
Yeah, I agree, right? This is gonna be the rematch that 70S was looking for. Of course, Unlimited, just sent them down into that lower bracket, and we heard from them that they are looking forward to taking on Unlimited. They feel like they have what it takes to flip the script, be the underdog here, so I definitely think that everybody's gonna want to tune in for that matchup because, the EUGM Grand Final is shaking up to be a banger.
Yeah, and we are not done for the day just yet. We can take a look at our schedule now. We did just finish DYS Fracture and 70S, but of course later on today, in a couple of hours, we'll be seeing Team Prosperous against Monolith in the, I think that is the NA Opened lower bracket, I want to say. So do not want to miss that one. That one will be for half of the marbles again, if I can use that analogy again. So yeah, definitely should check that one out. That one should be an absolute banger to watch. I know I'll be watching it for sure.
Yeah, and there's so much more Overwatch to be had here, so make sure that you tune in today. Stay tuned as well, because like we said, we're coming into the end of the season here, so we're going to be crowning champions across all divisions and tiers. So make sure that you're dialed in to the CGL Discord so that you don't miss any of the action.
Yeah, I mean, I think beautifully said. Definitely do make sure to keep watching CGL. Thank you guys all for watching, for being here today. Thank you for Hippie and Mara for being our observer and our producer. Without you guys, it wouldn't be possible. Thank you guys all for coming in and tuning into the stream. Be sure to drink some water, fix your posture, get some good rest when you go to sleep tonight, and be sure to tell somebody that you love them. Thank you all for watching. We'll catch you guys next time.